Hi, The Devils by Joe Abercrombie has released, and this is my review of the book. I'll divide this video in several parts. I'll give you some basic information on the release of the book and the available editions. Then we'll talk a little bit about the plot, my review of the book, and what I thought of the author event that I attended on Sunday. So to start off with, the book has now released in both countries, UK and US. In UK, it was released on 6th of May. In US, it was released on 13th. I'm not entirely sure when this video is going to go up, either on 13th itself or the day after. But the book is now out in both countries, and if you have picked it up, I hope you enjoy it. Joe Abercrombie is a British grimdark fantasy author. He is best known for the First Law trilogy. He then released 3 standalones in the same world, who had characters that were either a part of the First Law trilogy or linked to the characters in the First Law trilogy. He then released a collection of the short stories. Then after that came out his other trilogy called The Age of Madness, and to conclude the First Law world, he then released another collection of the short stories. Apart from that, he has released a epic fantasy YA trilogy. It's called The Shattered Sea, and it's completely not related to the First Law world. And The Devils is his new series. I believe it's also supposed to be a trilogy, but I'm not 100% sure. It's not linked to the First Law world at all, and it's set in alternative Europe. The book is divided into 4 parts. It's in total 561 pages, and each part is about 100 to 150 pages, and it represents sort of a section of the journey that is described in this book. The book is released in hardback, both in UK and US, and this in my hands is a UK standard edition, no sprayed edges. That came out on 6th of May. US one, I'll pop it on the screen. I don't have it, but if you live in the UK and if you're interested in getting it, I believe you can get it from Blackwell's on the day of the release in US, so on 13th of May. I'm not sure about how long the delivery would take, but it's usually not too long. It's usually only about a week. Here in the UK, we had 3 special editions. I'm not entirely sure about US. I believe there were several special editions as well. UK ones, unfortunately, are all sold out, so I won't talk about them too long. But I do own 2 of them, so we'll show off a little bit. This is the Waterstone special edition. It comes with a black sprayed edge, and it's signed by Joe Abercrombie. And this is the gorgeous, the broken binding special edition of The Devils. It comes with a beautiful sprayed edge. It was also signed by Joe Abercrombie, and it has beautiful art inside of it. I have made separate shows for both of them, so if you're curious, I'll link them in the description box below, and you can go see what's inside of both editions. Apart from those 2, Goldsboro Books also released one. I'll pop it on the screen here. I couldn't get my hands on it, and unfortunately now it's sold out. So the plot of the book, what is it actually about? I had the pleasure of listening to Joe Abercrombie talk about the book this Sunday, and he described it absolutely beautifully. He describes it as being set in an alternate Europe with a lot of magic. He said it was his intention to create a more magic-heavy world since his previous books are quite low on magic. The world is under the constant threat of man-eating elves, and the church is divided into East and West, and in order to fight the elves, the church and the people need to be brought together. Our main character, Alex, who's a thief, turns out to be a princess and a future empress of Troy. She gets sent on a journey to Troy, accompanied by a party of monsters. They happen to be Pope's personal monsters she keeps in a basement, and they combine a set of very powerful, unique skills. We have a vampire, a necromancer magician, a Viking werewolf, a holy knight, an elf, and the party is being led by a monk. So what did I think about the book? I think unfortunately I set myself up for failure a little bit. I was craving something similar to the First Law, and I really wanted a character that would remind me of Glokta, or at least make me feel what I felt reading about him, and this book is not the First Law. Now, there's still some similarities between the book. The characters are still the driving force, they're still the strongest part of the book. They have very unique personalities, they have very unique sets of skills, they sort of don't go together but somehow end up complementing each other. They go on a quest, on an adventure to deliver Alex to Troy, and throughout that adventure you sort of see them open up, bond, tell their life stories, and kind of show their personality from different angles. And even though they didn't make me feel the same way as Glokta did, which I don't think any character ever will, I did start rooting for them. I did develop some attachment to them. I like them. I didn't dislike them at any point, please don't get me wrong. They are wonderfully crafted characters. And the book itself is hilarious. It's very in style with Joe Abercrombie. His sense of humor is truly his selling point. Every character has some little quirks about them. Some of them are sarcastic, some of them are just funny, some of them are so unfortunate, and they kind of laugh at their own misfortune. And the humor is a lot stronger than it is in the first law, so you can expect, I would maybe say, a slightly lighter read from this, a funnier read, definitely in that sense a more entertaining, more enjoyable read. And I thought the theme of religion was very interesting in this book. Joe Abercrombie never specifically mentions Christianity or Orthodox or Catholic Church, but he did admit himself during the author meet that that's exactly where he took his inspiration and just changed several aspects of it. So, my conclusion, I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed reading it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a 5-star for me, it's going to be a 4-star for me. And maybe it's not very fair for me to compare it to the first law, but the first law was what I enjoyed the most. It was one of the first fantasy series I've ever read, and it was what made me fall in love with epic fantasy and continue reading it and explore other authors. So the expectations were very high, and this book is by no means bad, and if you're considering buying it, I strongly recommend you do. I'm sure you will have a wonderful time. At the very least, you will be very entertained. But it's not quite the 5-star. It's not quite on that level for me. I will still pick up the second and the third book, or however many are going to come in this series, and I'm very curious to see what's next for Alex and the other characters, but just not quite a 5-star. And last but definitely not least was the author event that I attended in Newcastle. Joe Abercrombie was touring from the day of the release of the book. He started in America, then he came to the UK and toured in a couple of cities in the UK. I believe now the tour is over. I know he has another author event with a broken binding in June, I believe 3rd of June. I'm not entirely sure if the tickets are sold out. I know that the original venue that they booked sold out very quickly, but then they moved it to a different venue with higher capacity and they had more tickets on sale. So if you're interested, go check it out. I think Joe Abercrombie has a post in his blog, and I'm sure the Broken Binding would have some information on their own page. And the author event was great. He's a lot of fun to listen to. He's very passionate about what he does. He's very honest and fairly humble about his work. He was telling us about how he started as a writer, how the first law was sort of his baby since he was a teenager. He was thinking about these characters and he was crafting this story. And then in his early 20s, he actually started writing it and didn't finish until his late 20s. And sort of the entire process of him trying to find an agent and somebody to read his book and believe in his book, and how he felt when it wasn't quite the smashing success that he thought it would be. And the process of the release of the first book, and then the second and the third, and kind of how it all came along, and how he then continued writing, and some of the decisions that he was making regarding the themes of his book and kind of the direction that he was taking as an author. So I would say, especially if you're a new author, if you write fantasy or if you're thinking of writing fantasy, I think you would find it very enjoyable. He goes in quite a bit of detail about how he writes his books, how he creates a story, how he crafts his characters, what his writing process is. I found it incredibly interesting. And he was absolutely great with the audience. He interacted with us a lot. We had a lot of time to ask all of the questions that we wanted. And it was truly a conversation between the audience and him. And then after the author talk itself, he dedicated some time to sign any books that we brought with us and have a short chat with every single fan, and even take some pictures and just interact with us as much as he had time to. And to be honest with you, he was kind of exactly what I expected him to be based on the writing, and I'll include a short clip of how he was interacting with the audience. I thought it was lovely.
You've read it?
Yes.
Do you like it?
I loved it.
Good, you can stay. Very nice. You liked it?
So that's my review of The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. If you read it, please leave a comment. I would absolutely love to chat about it, and thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!